It's absolutely no secret that the Dallas Cowboys have been receiving backlash for years about how they don't make enough moves in free agency. Here's a list of every player that the Cowboys either signed, re-signed, or traded for in this year's free agency. And you let me know if any one of these players is going to make them even close to a contender. The Cowboys have deservingly endured criticism from their fans about their lack of activity in free agency, but if you are going to be one of those teams who doesn't end up signing any great players, you're going to have to get homegrown talent and build through the draft. That's why the Cowboys at number 12 have a big decision to make with what they do with their first round pick. And in this video, we're going to go over potential options that the Cowboys have at number 12 and who I think the best picks could be for them. Of course, there's a few different ways that the board can fall, and we're still a month out of the draft, but this is where speculating starts to happen because free agency is over. We got confirmation that the Cowboys did nothing because we already knew that was going to happen anyway. We pretty much know the situation of the team and what their needs are. So now's the time to start talking about the draft. So I think the most realistic way the board can fall is for the Cowboys to have an option at running back, receiver, O-line, or maybe safety or tight end. There's obviously not going to be any guys like Abdul Carter, Mason Graham, or Travis Hunter on the board at number 12, but there's still going to be a couple really good players potentially on the board. The first guy, my number one option, the thing I would want the most to happen, is the Cowboys to go out and get Ashton Jeanty. Surprisingly, a lot of people don't agree with me on this, that Jeanty should be the Cowboys pick if on the board. First of all, I don't think Jeanty's lasting till 12. I think he's a realistic option at 6 to the Raiders, potentially at 8 to the Panthers. There's a few different spots Jeanty could go, but if he does fall to 12, I think he would be a great pick for the Cowboys. But in terms of guys they signed, Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams are absolutely not stopping you from going out and drafting possibly the best running back prospect we've seen in a few years. So Jeanty at 12 would be a massive pickup for the Cowboys, but even if he's not there, I think another running back like Omarion Hampton could potentially falling to 12 would be a solid pick for them. Maybe a little bit early for the Cowboys at 12. Maybe they could trade back if they want to get a guy like Hampton. But if it's not Jeanty, I would honestly be a little bit surprised if the Cowboys do end up going in the direction of a running back. But the second option for them, I think, is wide receiver. I think out of Tetairoa McMillan, Matthew Golden, or Luther Burden, the guy they should potentially go with is Tetairoa McMillan. On the other side of CeeDee Lamb, Dak could use a big body target, a jump ball receiver. That's what they missed last year, I think, in Michael Gallup, him not being there for the Cowboys. I think Tetairoa McMillan simply has the potential to be a much better player than Michael Gallup. Very talented player, just needs to develop a little bit as a route runner. I think he would be a great fit, potentially the first receiver off the board at 12. Then you got Golden and Burden. Golden, obviously, the Texas connection back to Dallas, that would be great for the Cowboys. And then there's Luther Burden. A lot of guys are a lot lower on him than I am, but I think he's a great playmaker with the potential to be a Malik Neighbors type of player. Obviously not that type of prospect in terms of route running and explosive ability, but he's still a very explosive athlete and a guy that you just want to put the ball in his hands. But honestly, running back and receiver, two positions that the Cowboys have invested in previous years in the draft, with Zeke a number of years ago at this point and CeeDee Lamb not too long ago. Offensive line's obviously another position. This would be my second or third preferred option in terms of who the Cowboys should take. They need their Zach Martin replacement. It looks like they still haven't found him. I think Will Campbell would be the best potential option to the line. I think Armand Memba would be solid if he's there at 12, but tackle, a pure tackle isn't necessarily the need. They need somebody that could be flexible, play multiple positions. I think Will Campbell has that ability. He's the Zach Martin replacement, though. At least in year one, I think they're going to have him playing at guard. But honestly, those are my most preferred options in terms of who I think the Cowboys should go out and draft in the first round. But there's some other guys that I wouldn't be super mad at. This is like my flex tier, my fourth option of players that I think the Cowboys should take. There's a few guys that I have in this category. So first, there's the safeties, Nick Eamon-Warry and Malachi Starks. I'm higher on Eamon-Warry just because of the athletic upside, but Starks obviously has the instincts. I think he would be a solid player there at 12, but Eamon-Warry would be great. I just don't think the Cowboys will take a safety in the first round, and honestly, I don't blame them when there's other guys on the board at higher needs. Similar thing with Jahad Campbell out of Alabama, linebacker, not necessarily the biggest position of need. Jalen Walker is the last guy I have on my short list of players. If he falls to 12, on the other side of Micah Parsons, the DeMarcus Lawrence replacement, he would be an incredible guy to watch. high upside player. Still has the potential to be a bust though. High risk, high reward with Jalen Walker. So that's why he's not one of my higher players on the board. But those are the guys who I think the Cowboys should end up going with, man. In terms of a board of like top 5 to 6, number 1, Ashton Genty. Number 2, Tedero McMillan. Number 3, Will Campbell. Then after that, Matthew Golden at number 4, Luther Burden, Omarion Hampton, Armand Membu potentially. And then you have all the other guys I just mentioned like Nick Eamon-Warren, Malachi Starks, Tyler Warren, Jahad Campbell, and Jalen Walker. All these guys would be solid options. I wouldn't be mad with any of them. But honestly, I do hope they stick with positional value. Even though a guy like Eamon-Warren, Starks, Warren, or Campbell would be great, I think taking an edge or a receiver or lineman would be a little bit better of an option. You can argue that running back and receiver, the positional value isn't there. But McMillan and Genty are really good prospects. And at some point in the first round, obviously, they're going to go. And I think the Cowboys would be a good landing spot for some of these playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. There's a few different ways the Cowboys could go at number 12. At the end of the day, none of these make them a contender because of their lack of spending in free agency. But once again, like I started this video off by saying, Cowboys are so big on this homegrown talent, this idea of drafting and developing through the draft. They're going to have to make use of their draft picks if they're going to want to be one of those teams. And I think it starts here this year. At number 12, they're going to have to make a solid pick. Then back on the board at 44. Might make another video as to who they could take at that point. But that's going to do it for this video. If you're a Cowboys fan, these are just a few names that you should look out for as to who the Cowboys could potentially draft. Don't be surprised if any of these guys' names are called at number 12. But that's going to do it. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want to see more content like this. Let me know what team you want me to do next. That's going to do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.